transfer to camps sort of outside of the community?
We need to make sure that communities like Epping are safe. What a lot of the parents, the mothers, and even some of the children have said to me is that they don't feel safe. It is unfair to impose this burden on communities, and then we see the sort of crimes that we were hearing about. Lots of people here have been talking about being harassed by a lot of people in the hotels. Not everyone here is a genuine asylum seeker. People are arriving in our country illegally, and that is why we have a plan to make sure that people who arrive here illegally are deported immediately. We need to close down that pathway to citizenship that means that lots of people get here not making any contributions, claiming welfare, claiming benefits, and we also need a deterrent. At the moment, we have hotels full, people not being able to use them. It's not the right place to put a lot of these people. Neither are private homes. My worry is that things are actually going to get worse as Labour tries to move people out of hotels and into private accommodation. I think that is going to be a much worse situation.
Use violence against police?
Actually, what the parents told me is that it's protesters from the far left. I was walking down the high street and one lady said it's the communists who were doing it. It is quite clear that people who are not from this community are turning up to these protests to cause problems. They're coming from all parts of the political spectrum, and what I don't want to see is the good people of Epping being smeared as far right. What we want is for them to be able to protest peacefully. These are mums and dads, people worried about their children, and for everyone else who is not from here to stay away and go protest elsewhere where they can make their concerns heard and not intimidate the people of Epping.
And at Epping, what were you here to do? And we sort of sense some hostility amongst some of the people you spoke to towards the Conservative record of law and order.
It was minor. What they were mostly speaking about was their fear of safety in their own community. I was speaking to mums and dads of children who are terrified to walk down their own high street. And I wanted to hear from them firsthand. I haven't gone to a protest yet. I didn't want to start from there. I wanted to start with the people who are being impacted. And the bottom line is that they say that they want the boats to stop. They want to stop the boats. They think that they are being taken for a ride, and I have explained to them that we have a policy which we want the government to adopt. It's our deportation bill. We need to deport all people who arrive here illegally, no ifs, no buts, deport all foreign criminals. We need to stop that pathway to citizenship, which means that there's a pull factor here, people claiming benefits. We have a plan to fix the boats, and that is to stop the boats, and that is to get a deterrent, the Rwanda plan.
And therefore you'll presumably support the government to deportation announcements over the last 2 days. One of them was particularly about appeals being abroad. Do you support those two government policies?
I think it's very interesting that they've announced this. When we were deporting criminals, Keir Starmer was writing letters trying to stop our deportation. So I'll believe it when I see it. This is the sort of stuff that they should have been doing on day one. The fact that they tried to stop deportations before means that I don't really believe it. The government has released 26,000 prisoners since it came to power, released them early. There are now more criminals on our streets. That's what I'm really worried about.
On to some other topics. The government has announced that motorists over 70 could be banned from the roads if they fail compulsory eye tests. Is that fair? Do you support that policy?
I think we need to make sure that people driving on our roads and using our streets are safe. If people are failing their eye tests, then I think it's important that we make sure that only those people who can actually see can drive. That's quite critical.
The United Nations has condemned Prime Minister Netanyahu's plans to take control of Gaza. Do you condemn those plans too?
I think that what is happening in Gaza is absolutely tragic. We need to end this war straight away. I'm not giving a running commentary on what Israel is doing. That's not my job. My job is to say what I would do if I were Prime Minister. We want a two-state solution. Now is not the time to be creating a two-state solution. We have a terrorist group running Gaza. We need to get them out. But most importantly, what we need is a ceasefire, and that means getting the hostages home as quickly as possible.
On this weekend's Palestine Action protests, do you accept that a majority of the protesters that we saw on Saturday in Parliament Square were protesting peacefully? And what do you make of the fact that police arrested over 500 people?
I think it is important that the police arrest anyone who is carrying out criminal activity. But as I'm here in Epping, I've been talking to people who have been protesting peacefully. They are constantly being smeared as far right. What we want to see is not two-tier policing. What we want to see is everyone being treated equally under the law.
And finally, from the full, Geoffrey Clifton Brown, one of your MPs, has said he has no idea if you'll lead the Tories into the next general election, and it depends on how you perform over the next few months. How do you respond to those comments?
My comment is that I'm going to be here until the next general election. I'm campaigning to be Prime Minister of this country. Labour is making a mess of everything. Look at our economy. I've been speaking to small businesses today. Unemployment is up, growth is down, inflation is up. We need to get rid of Labour, and the Conservative Party is the only party that has a plan for our economy.
To the heart of the demonstration.
Demonstrate Epping masked, Antifa, placards, chanting, Nazi scum.
Yes.
Which is heavy-handed.
Yes.
Yes.
The Metropolitan as well, that are used to a complete different people in different areas that are a lot.
Because there's people in bushes, it's just not safe to run anymore. So we're back in the place where we used to run. And then the evidence gatherer police with the orange hats stands in the middle of us mums going, videoing us.
So you're treated as if you're the problem.
So it's like,
Yes, we are.
You
We
don't,
have
that's
no
just
problem.
my dad was there, he's 82. You don't need to be doing that. We're not troublemakers. We're just trying to raise a voice.
Yes, very badly. They're
They're
taking
trying to shut it down.
Where you can clearly see that
As a solution, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
See, I actually think the police should have more power. There are lots of countries where the
They have
police
to
have
use their
huge
power,
amounts of
they've made
power,
it very
and,
clear to
and
us.
people respect the police. They're
Yes.
afraid of
Something there, and other people who have an academic or theoretical or political belief, joining that to have a counter protest. Also, this is your home. This is your community,
Yes.
and that, in my view, is quite important. People should have some kind of precedence in their own community versus other people randomly passing through. Otherwise, we start to change the nature of what protest is, and this is another area where I think that our laws are being exploited. People now use protest as a cover for troublemaking, aesthetics, and they have to go to London all the time. They get their leave cancelled and so on to go and police other areas. So what you'll be getting is police officers that we've run out of money. We've got to
I
save
don't think
money.
that's valid though, a point,
But
because
it's-
we've got on spending enough money on housing them in there and feeding them
Exactly.
and clothing them.
Exactly.
So why can we not
This is
protect
and
our people?
this is the thing, that we are spending money on emergency situations rather than on the
But I
day-to-day to
think
create
coming back
the
to
structure and the
day-to-day
stability.
things, I think what we are
Or attacking the freedom of speech of other citizens and people in our
obviously, we see
community.
with adults in prison for
Lucy Connolly,
Lucy
yes.
Connolly for a
Yeah.
retweet, that's ridiculous.
Kemi, this is George is here. You're just going to say hi to George.
Okay.
Just over here.
All right, George. Well, he's making a
he's
sale.
making-
He's making a sale.
Sorry,
Yeah, we've got to.
busy man.
Yeah, well, I've just been having a meeting with some of the mums who are worried about themselves. I didn't want to turn up when it was started. That was quite optimistic. I wanted to keep what's been like, and it's been absolutely awful. Oh, hello. Hi, Karen. Yes, that's right. That's right. And I'm just very worried that we're not getting a lid on this situation. It all starts with stopping the boats. That's the main thing. Once we stop the arrivals, then we can deal with people here. But it's overwhelming everything. It's overwhelming the community. Thank you. No, it's important. It's
I live
important.
off the orchards near the station, and the people that are causing the trouble are the communists. Sorry,
They're people
they are.
coming from outside. They're not local community people
No,
protesting,
and they're
that's what that
shouting and
worries me.
screaming, and all the people that live round there have to put up with that. Whereas outside the bell, mostly, I'm not saying all of them, but mostly it's mums and dads.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I do wish you luck. I mean,
you.
I used to vote Conservative.
Thank you.
I don't
we want you to.
anymore,
We want
but I
you.
know
we want
you
you.
do.
Yes, we
And
want you
that's
to come
why
back
I
because
wish you luck.
that's why I'm doing this. I'm a mum myself. I've got. No, there was a legal. It was a legal thing, and it's one of the reasons why I think we called that election early, so that we could get the public behind us. But unfortunately, people were very upset about all the other mistakes that we made, and so it just got lost in the whole election. But Labour's got to bring it back because if people know that they're not going to get a nice hotel here, they're going to go to Rwanda, then they won't come in the first place.
Just watch your back. Oh, sorry. Just watch your back. We're doing good. Yeah. Seriously.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
We've been here 30 years, so.
Really?
You can do the opposite. I'll come do No.
You raise a very valid point about police stations disappearing. These are things that, as MPs, we campaign against, but the government says, and I'm talking about all governments now, going back 20, 30 years. It's not just police stations have been closing for a long time all over the country, that there isn't the money to do it, and that crime is falling, so we don't need as many police. Those are the arguments that were being made. We've got to turn things around very quickly. We cannot use rules from 1995 or 2005 or even 2015 for 2025. Our world is changing very quickly and we need to adapt to it. That's why I'm talking about what's an alternative to migrant hotels. Is it possible for us to set up camps and police that rather than bringing all of this hassle into communities? Is it possible?
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yes, we do have an alternative.